On one of the small islands just outside of Vancouver, there's a restaurant called Pilgrim. It's been getting great reviews and winning some awards. Chef Jesse McCleary pays close attention to what grows around him, and he's creating some very innovative dishes by focusing on those ingredients. Pilgrim Restaurant's on Galiano Island. You can either get there by a ferry or you can get there by a float plane. Chef Jesse is doing some great things. I've heard a lot about it. I'm really, really interested to see what they're up to. It's going to be fantastic. Jesse.
David.
All right,
nice to see you.
See you.
Welcome.
All right.
Welcome to Galiano. Welcome to Pilgrim.
Look into what makes up a great dish, and you'll find a spark of inspiration, incredible ingredients from remarkable locations, and the story of a chef's journey, each of them unique. All of these elements come together in food that tells a delicious and compelling story. Join Chef David Hawksworth as he explores his region, spending time with an outstanding collection of chefs, sampling their creations and finding all about their origins.
My name's Jesse McCleary. We're on Galiano Island, British Columbia. I'm the chef, co-owner of Pilgrim Restaurant.
Tell me about Pilgrim.
Yeah, so I mean, small restaurant, old house, farm-to-table cuisine, I guess you could call it. Just using what's around us. So super lucky to have a handful of farms within, 5-minute distance. Well, the wild foods are insane. Every couple of weeks we're finding new spots and things. So just trying to serve what's in season, what's in our region, and what reflects Galiano.
It's nice to see somebody doing something out here. There should be more of this around.
Yeah, it's a great location. Such a beautiful island. Galiano Island's just off the coast, British Columbia, between Vancouver and Vancouver Island. Population 1,200. Goes up quite a bit in the summer with tourists and the people that spend half their time here. Not tons of infrastructure here. There's a corner store, there's one gas station, there's a post office, there's no bank. It's hard to get internet. But it's pretty quiet. Lots of forests, lots of parks, tons of beach accesses, lots of places I still haven't seen. I've been here almost 3 years now. It's pretty incredible. So I think the people that are drawn to Galiano, in my perspective, and the people that live here, it's a bit of everything. There's a ton of artists on the island, everything from painting, sculpting, lots of ceramicists, potters. A lot of them are people that just want to live the quiet life, tend to their gardens.
So what's up for today? What do you got planned?
Quite a bit. I mean, the guys are getting ready for the weekend, so they're prepping, and I think we have time to step out, and there's some farm pickups we have to do. Everything's just starting to grow, so the kale, winter squash season's finally come to an end, and all the spring stuff's shooting up, so do some farm pickups. Be nice to go out in the water and get some bulk help.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right. David, this is Galiano Sunshine Farm. Roger Pettit, Lisa Pettit up there. These guys supply us all year round.
We do well with onions, garlic, beets, potatoes, kale. I mean, I don't know how much kale we go through, but it's a huge thing for us.
What's going to be the new kale?
Well, I don't know. You people will figure it out. We'll grow it.
How are your beets doing? They look like they're almost ready.
They're just almost ready, yeah.
You gonna forage right now?
Yeah. Can I pull this guy up here?
Sure.
We get vegetables and fruits product from all over the island, but our two main suppliers would definitely be Sunshine Farm with Roger and Lisa Pettit, and then just down the road is Cable Bay Farms with Henny and Thomas Schneider. So it's great just being able to get stuff from so many different farms and just the different variety that each farm has. David, welcome to Cable Bay.
Yeah, this is very cool.
We're just thrilled to have you, honestly. I mean, we've been here 26 years, but we have an absolute passion for growing really great food.
Pleasure to work with them. The stuff they're growing is amazing.
I'm very jealous you got to go
15 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
You've got all this. This is crazy.
At Cable Bay, they grow lots of different things than Sunshine Farm. All the turnips, tons of amazing lettuces and green mixes. The artichokes.
I love artichokes.
Yeah, one of my favorites too.
Well, of course, the absolute essence of the finest food lies in the quality of the soil. And the most beautiful thing that we've got going here is how we grow food. We grow organically, and what we do is we give back constantly in terms of compost, and we do cover crops, and then you till the soil in a very minimal way. And what all of that does is it constantly gives back the nutrients to the soil, which is really quite critical these days.
Well, you can really taste the difference, right? Like, when you get a box of like a carrots from down that way, like, like hundreds and hundreds of miles away, it's being picked, a month ago, it sat in a fridge, and then you try it, and then you try something over here. It's like two different things all together, right? I mean,
To me, the flavors are absolutely everything.
They're kind of growing in a more harmonious way, they're not impacting the land so much. They're kind of growing with what does well together.
Yeah, this is very cool.
Yeah. Some of the stuff they're growing in years from now are going to be pretty incredible with what they're starting there.
I love it.
Very jealous. May have to move.
Yeah. I guess my earliest food memories, there's no single one necessarily, but in Winnipeg, my mother used to cook a lot when I was quite young. I just remember her canning violets and just little things like that. She used to bake a lot. Lots of flans and cheesecakes. The first memory for myself actually cooking would be after my parents split up. I realized quickly that my father, he didn't know how to cook as much. I didn't realize, so I guess my mother was always doing the cooking, and when we split up, I went to live with my father. And then I realized he can't really cook actual meals. It's more like bacon and eggs or big salad. So I started watching my mom more, and then giving my dad a hand and getting recipes from my mom for things like chili. And so, making a bit more substantial meal. My first kind of foot in the door in a restaurant was dishwashing. I was just turned 15, then worked my way up through the ranks. Really liked the kind of culture of the kitchen, growing up in that. Everyone seemed super cool to me. They're all in their, mid-20s, early 30s, and I was 16 in this, kind of thrown into this world that was super exciting to me. And at that point I realized, I wasn't spending my money on skateboards, I was buying cookbooks. My sister, she just moved to Tofino, and she kept bugging me, you should come out west. Heard about Clayquot Wilderness Resort through her. I had a few phone interviews with the chef, got hired, and just jumped at it, something different for the summer. So at the resort, there was an artist who lived just around the bay in a floating house, and she'd drop off all these wild foods, all these things I'd never even heard of. This is before the foraging kind of became, a household term.
You can see why Jesse wanted to spend some time at the world-famous Noma in Copenhagen. He shares a very similar set of interests with Noma's René Redzepi.
I'd read the book and I'd heard so much about it, all the awards they were winning. René Redzepi seemed like this incredible figure, kind of enigmatic, super creative, just someone that I'd love to meet. The one interesting thing was that Noma was using a lot of the same ingredients that we were using back at Clayquot Wilderness Resort that no one else was using, and he kind of made foraging like a household term. People knew what it was, and people, I think now more than before, were willing to try new things. Eating the wild sea vegetables that, had sustained the first people in Canada like hundreds, thousands of years ago, that people kind of forgot about. All these wild foods that we walk across every day that are full of nutrients, full of flavor, that just got forgotten. And most people do, and I do as well, credit René Redzepi as one of the people to kind of bring them back and get people interested in them. So I was really interested in working at Noma, which is why I pursued the internship, which was accepted, left October, I believe 30th, 31st for like a whole winter in Denmark. Yeah, so Noma was a great experience. I'd heard the stories that, you might get stuck peeling chestnuts for a week, like 18 hours a day, which is true in some regards. I just worked hard and made myself noticed. It takes its toll on you, but you wake up just ready to go. Just the inspiration and working with all those people, the 25 nationalities from around the world and their stories. So that was super inspiring. So I came back from Denmark after the 6 months, really inspired. We always wanted our own restaurant. We just never had the means, and it was one of those kind of things that's probably far off. Well, we'll come into money somehow one day or meet the right investor. A good friend tipped us off about that little restaurant that's on Galiano. It used to be a French restaurant. It's been empty for almost 6 months now, and I'd never been to Galiano. Came over, loved it, connecting with the farmers, building the relationships with the farms. And I was blown away by how much was grown here. It's almost like a microclimate. It was perfect. I never really wanted a restaurant in the city. I kind of wanted to just be somewhere different, almost try to create a destination restaurant, and this was just ideal. It was exactly what I'd always kind of dreamed of, close to the farms, access to the beach and the forest, all the wild foods. Hopefully get, people notice you and you have business and customers coming in, but at the same time, I think it gives you a bit more freedom to do something that might not fly in the city, that, you might get picked apart for. You can kind of just do your own thing without a microscope over you. Started off simpler than we wanted to do, just to not shock anyone, or we wanted the support of the local community, which we were super lucky to have. The first winter was probably 99% locals, what kept us alive, and they're still coming today, which was huge. So that was great. Having the support of the island was like the first step. And then now we're just starting to have people coming from the city to eat, but the locals are still coming, which you wouldn't survive without them, especially in the winters.
One of the many local ingredients that has caught Jesse's attention is bull kelp. It's a sea vegetable that grows in cold Pacific waters. We're going to head out to Active Pass to stock up.
Pretty interesting ingredient. I figured out a few things to do with it. One interesting thing about the bull kelp is that it's one of the fastest growing organisms in the sea. I think it's up to 2 feet a day sometimes. So it's you don't feel terribly bad harvesting some, because that stuff grows insanely fast. At the beach one day, we just found a piece of bull kelp that had washed up after a stormy day. So we just took it back to the restaurant and started playing with it. I just peeled it one day to see what it would look like, and it was a super green, crisp vegetable. And so we pickled it just to tenderize it a bit, and it just picks up the pickle really nice, and it's got more for texture, for sure. And it does have some umami-ness to it. It's incredibly clean and super alive.
What do we got?
So yeah, this is our potato and kelp dish essentially, and it's been off and on the menu in some kind of form or another. It changes, it kind of go through stages. Quite a few different components. Really nice new potatoes are just coming up now. We simmer them really slow and whey for 3 or 4 hours whole, and then we just slice them and keep them nice and crunchy, and just so we kind of wanted a fatty element to that as well, a buttery fatty. So we caramelize buttermilk overnight, and then it comes out, we get the nice buttermilk curds, and we just essentially blowtorch them and char them. Take back some of the whey, which is really sweet from caramelizing overnight. Blend it back just to a nice consistency. We have so much whey left over from the buttermilk that that's what we cook the potatoes in for a few hours. And then the bull kelp kind of goes through lots of different stages. We played around with it for a long time. Like the stipe end, on its own, it's very kind of bitter, but the texture is great. So we just sliced it thin on a mandolin.
Super crunchy. And,
So we sliced it thin on a mandolin, tried pickling it, let it sit for a few weeks, and we were really happy with it. It picks up the pickle really well. But we were trying to figure out how to get the sea flavor back. So the frond end of the bull kelp, like the wavy kelpy part, we dried it and used it as a powder, and then super umami, and then we wanted more. So we had the smoker going one day, so we just threw some of the kelp in the smoker and then did the same process. And we ended up with this. So it's just smoked bull kelp and dried, and we just kind of powder it and then use it as a seasoning.
cool.
So it's got nice smoke and really umami kind of sea flavor. So
Wow, that's delicious.
we put in butters and like everything. So it's like the kind of secret seasoning that adds really kind
That's
of
really
meaty
neat.
texture, meaty flavor.
So this, when you look at it, it's like, oh, those are chives,
Yeah.
right? But then, but they're a lot more sturdier and like,
Yeah, and they have
that's
the-
not a chive.
Almost if you try them, it's kind of got a little bit of coriander flavor, I find. So it's arrowgrass from the beach. Kind of grows within the sea asparagus in little patches.
Yeah.
It looks just like chives too, so yeah, tougher though for sure, a little fibrous, but chop them fine. It's just a nice texture, so
Yeah.
add it to the potatoes for flavor as well, just that kind of coriander aspect.
Yeah.
Also just for a nice fresh green texture. And that's the buttermilk. That's just the charred curds, and then we just blend it back with some of its own way, just to the consistency we want. So kind of like a sour cream consistency. And then the potatoes, which are just glazed back in the same way. And then just some of the arrowgrass. And so yeah, super simple dish. Just textures, the nice soft buttermilk, the slightly crunchy potato, the really sweet way, smoky bull kelp. And then we usually just top it with some of the nice pickled pieces for that acidity and crunch.
Yeah. This is really cool. I love this.
And then we, quite often, we'll just give it a little extra shot of this.
Do we get to try potato or?
Yeah, for sure.
No, the combination works really well. Everything's, unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. That was super delicious.
People always ask how we make dishes up or how we think of ideas, and I'd say there's not a lot of thought that goes into it in some ways. Like, we don't all sit around and plan, and we don't have the test kitchen. It's just an organic process. We get ingredients, people give them to us, we figure out how to preserve them. If we have too many, we ferment them, we pickle them, and we just kind of take a look at all the ingredients we have and think what will work together. We never plan out a dish from start to finish. Sometimes a dish will be on the menu for a day and we don't like it. Sometimes it'll stay for a month, and sometimes it changes every week. So. We also like to go back to older techniques. I mean, fermenting's pretty big now. It's hit kind of a trend, which is great. It should be. I mean, it's kind of a lost science that there's so many health benefits to it, and also for preserving. So there's stuff growing on Galiano in the winter, but obviously there's not as much. So in the summer, there's such huge harvests of plums, turnips. So we pickle and ferment a lot of stuff at the restaurant just so we have more flavor profiles and textures for the winter. So, we're not just getting bombarded with winter squash and kale all winter, but we want to throw in other flavors and aspects in there that, you otherwise wouldn't have. So we eat within the seasons in our region for sure, but we also preserve a lot, as people did hundreds, thousands of years ago, so that you can sustain yourself over the winter, which I think is a great thing for any home cook or just anybody to do at home. If you get, you're at the farmer's market and you see a bunch of turnips or beets, too much, but you want those later, just ferment them or pickle them or just do something. And a lot of people think, I think when we use these different ingredients, that we're just going for shock value or just trying to be avant-garde, but that's not the reason at all. Well, someone made a comment that was kind of pretentious a while ago, which I thought was funny, because a lot of these foods were eaten hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, as sustenance because they were wild and available. So I don't see how that could be considered pretentious, but we definitely don't do it for shock value. We're doing it for us to learn as well, and just to bring back something that grows wild around you in your environment, that is part of the cycle of nature and the harmony that is here that we just kind of forgot about. And a lot of the stuff that's growing grows for a reason. It's sustenance for other animals or plants, and it grows in harmony with different plants. Moving forward to today with how the restaurant's doing, I'm shocked. We're doing quite well in terms of there's people that are coming just to eat from Vancouver, Victoria, or even other provinces from what they say. It's shocking, I think. I don't know if it's a combination of everything. The location's amazing, the community's amazing, the island's amazing. People are happy with what we're doing, and I think it's just it's been a combination of the right thing at the right time. It's the right person eating on the right day. Us really believing and loving what we're doing, and just the food we're using too is grown with so much care, the plums that our neighbors drop off. Just the energy and the whole combination, everything I think is working for us, and I'm shocked about you know, some of the stuff that's happening, and happy about it for sure. And just keep doing what we're doing, and not going to change anything, change things for the better for sure, but just keep putting the good energy in the food, and, you know, care about what you're doing. And, you know, some people, it's not their thing. Some people love it, and just got to do what you love, I guess.